Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the articles of impeachment against Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States. Mr. Speaker, no one runs for Congress to impeach a president, but this president has left us no choice. President Trump abused the enormous powers of his office when he solicited foreign interference for the purpose of helping him in his re-election campaign in 2020. The president betrayed our national security and undermined the security of our elections when he put his own personal political interests ahead of the interests of our country. He tried to cheat to win re-election. And this wasn't an attack on Vice President Biden. This was an attack on our democracy. And if we do not hold the president accountable today, we will no longer live in a democracy. We will live in a dictatorship where any future president will be free to abuse their office in order to get reelected. So today, every member of this chamber faces a choice, whether to do what the Constitution demands and the evidence requires, or to turn a blind eye to the president's grave misconduct, blind eye to the overwhelming evidence of high crimes and misdemeanors. To my friends on the other side of the aisle, I say this. This is not about making history. This is about holding a lawless president accountable in the way our framers intended. This is a time to put our country over your political party. Do not seek safety in the high grass of a vote against these articles. We are all Americans. Show the American people your devotion to your country is more powerful than your loyalty to your political party. United, we can defend our democracy from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Divided, we risk losing our democracy. All you have to do is look at the evidence, because it will leave you with only one answer. The President of the United States must be impeached. Remember these facts. He tried to cheat, he got caught, he confessed, and then he obstructed the investigation into his misconduct. For our democracy, for our Constitution, for the people you represent, and for all who will inherit our country from us, I pray you will do the right thing.
As you all know, I serve on both the Judiciary Committee and Rules Committee, and I have literally spent hours poring over testimony, looking at documents, sitting in hearings. And you know the conclusion I got from all of that? This impeachment is a total joke and a total sham. And let me tell you one of the reasons why I think that. All of those witnesses, the 17 witnesses that the Democrats brought forward, not one single one of them was able to establish that President Trump committed bribery, treason, high crimes, or misdemeanors, which is required in the U.S. Constitution. And again, 17 out of 24 Democrat members on Judiciary Committee voted on this floor to move forward articles of impeachment before the phone call. And 5 out of 9 Rule Committee Democrat members did the same thing. So if the main part of your impeachment is the call, why did you vote for impeachment prior to the call? I also want to remind the American public and others that for 2 years, Adam Schiff claimed he had proof that President Trump had colluded with Russia. That turned out to be false. And then overnight, it was obstruction of justice, then quid pro quo, then bribery, then extortion. And the list goes on, but yet not one of those is listed in the articles of impeachment. To my Democrat colleagues, Madam Chair, I say, please stop tearing the country apart. Stop this sham.
Words matter. We've heard many words over the course of these last weeks. Still, what strikes me are the words that are missing from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. A gaping hole in this conversation. The words they cannot or will not mouth. Defending a president's conduct. Conduct that threatens our constitutional order. And so, Speaker, I ask, when is it ever right for a president to coerce a foreign power to interfere in our elections? When is it ever right for a president to intimidate a foreign leader into announcing false investigations into a political rival? When is it ever right for that president to withhold congressionally appropriated aid to that country at the expense of its national security and our very own? And when is it ever right for a president to block a co-equal branch of government from investigating the scheme to cheat an election? The answer, of course, is never. but that word does not come trippingly from the tongues of those who are making the choice to stand behind a man whose behavior is not worthy of your tortured words. By our vote today, we are speaking to future presidents and to future generations. We are declaring that we will not tolerate foreign interference in our presidential elections. Americans alone will determine the outcome, and we will not permit a president to order the complete defiance of a co-equal branch of government. And in the end, regardless of the outcome of this impeachment, the president's tenure will end, and this body and our grandchildren will be left with what we did here today. Ours is a somber generational duty about love of country and lifting a Constitution to its gravest protections but its highest aspirations. Our democracy is a matter of conscience, and by voting to safeguard our Constitution, mine is clear.
You know, in the Navy, we had a saying, bluff, bottom line up front. Well, I'll give you the bottom line. Democrats are terrified that President Trump is going to win re-election. They can't beat him on the merits. So the Democrats are caving to their far-left radical base, and they're using the thoughts and the feelings and the assumptions of some unnamed bureaucrats rather than relying on facts and law to impeach a duly elected president. Let me be clear. This is nothing more than a political hit job. You know, I've been on all sides of the courtroom. I was a prosecutor in the Navy. I was a defense attorney in the Navy. I was a district judge in my hometown. And let me tell you, as a lawyer, I would defend this case every day of the week. As a judge, I would dismiss this on day one for lack of merit. There's no prima facie case here. I'll tell you who I'd prosecute, though. I would prosecute Adam Schiff for abuse of power. Why? How about the fact that he used his position as chairman to leak phone records of ranking member Devin Nunes? How about the fact that he dumped over 8,000 pages of documents on Republicans less than 48 hours before a hearing? That is the abuse of power. And obstruction? I'd prosecute the Democrats for obstruction. How about the fact that Judiciary Democrats voted down my request to subpoena the whistleblower? How about the fact that Chairman Nadler refused every single Republican request for a fact witness? That is obstruction of Congress. So again, let me be clear. Today is nothing more than a political hit job. Thank you, and I yield back.